Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a really profound plunge into the mind of Nikola Tesla. He's often called way ahead of his time, a massive innovator, and honestly, a pretty mysterious figure.
Absolutely. And our source today is really something special.
It is. It's a very rare interview, apparently hidden for nearly 116 years. We're not just looking at his famous electrical stuff, though.
No, this goes much deeper.
Yeah.
We're getting into his philosophical, even spiritual views. Really wild ideas about the universe, energy, human potential.
It's fascinating. Futurists often say, don't they, that the 20th and 21st centuries were basically born in the head of Nikola Tesla.
They do. And when you think about alternating current, the induction engine, his impact is just immense. He had these amazing titles like the hunter who caught the light in his net.
Or the warrior who captured fire from heaven. Incredible imagery.
It really paints a picture of how people saw him, even then. But this interview, it shows how tied his science was to this, well, unique spiritual foundation.
Exactly. So our mission here is to pull out the key insights from this amazing interview. We want to help you understand Tesla's worldview and maybe, challenge how you see things too.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so one of the first things that really jumps out is how Tesla saw himself. It's kind of paradoxical. Everyone else is calling him a supreme saint of industry. He's responsible for so much tech.
Right.
But he calls himself a defeated man. He says he didn't accomplish the greatest thing he could have. What's that about? What was this unfulfilled goal?
It tells you his ambition was just astronomical. His greatest thing wasn't just another invention. He wanted to illuminate the whole Earth.
The whole Earth.
Yeah, with enough electricity to make it like a second sun. He imagined this ring of light around the equator.
Wow. That's huge. Why did he think it didn't happen?
He basically said, mankind is not ready for the great and good. He felt the world just wasn't prepared for that level of, well, power or understanding. He hinted his Colorado Springs experiments proved it was possible.
Okay, that scale is hard to grasp. And related to this huge vision, he talked about spending years searching for three essential things, very ambitious goals. What was the first?
The first was incredibly humanitarian. He wanted to find a way to get food and drink to everyone on Earth who was hungry or thirsty.
Not just feed them, but make them cheer in their heart and understand that they are gods. That's quite a statement.
It really is. It shows this deep spiritual element, even in what seems like a practical goal.
And the second essential thing?
He wanted to destroy the power of evil and suffering. He didn't just see it as a human problem, but like an epidemic spreading from Earth out into the cosmos.
An epidemic spreading into the universe.
Okay.
And the third?
The third was about understanding excess light in the universe. This is where it gets really mind-bending. He talked about finding a star.
Go on.
A star that could vanish, but then reappear totally unchanged. And the light from it was supposedly so dense it could fit in a sphere smaller than an apple, but be heavier than our solar system.
Heavier than our solar system. That's hard to picture. How did he connect that?
Well, he connected it to his idea of empty space. He said it wasn't empty at all, just unawakened matter.
So, latent potential everywhere.
Kind of. And what we call black holes, he thought were actually the most powerful sources of energy and life. Not destroyers, but creators.
That flips the script entirely.
It does. And he had this other, almost wilder aim to prove that every single being is born as a Christ or a Buddha or a Zoroaster. That inherent divinity in everyone.
Wow. Okay, and he mentioned human wings, but not planes, right?
No, not devices. He meant teaching people to regain consciousness on his own wings. It's about inner potential, self-awareness, that kind of spiritual flight.
This deep ambition, this unique view, it leads right into his ideas about energy and matter, which were pretty radical too. He flat out said, first was energy, then matter.
Yeah, that really turns our usual thinking upside down. He had this whole theory on the universe's birth.
How did he explain it?
He said matter is created from an original and eternal energy, which he identified as light. So light shone, and then stars, planets, people, everything appeared.
So matter is just light in different forms.
Essentially, yes. An expression of infinite forms of light, because as he put it, energy is older than it. And from this, he laid out 4 laws of creation.
4 laws. Sounds almost mystical. What are they?
They are pretty abstract, I have to say. The first he called a dark plot that's beyond our minds or math, but the whole universe fits inside it.
Okay, a dark blot. What's the second?
The second involves spreading a darkness, which he strangely said is the true nature of light, which then gets transformed into light.
Wait, darkness is the true nature of light. That's confusing.
It is. It's very counterintuitive. The third law is the necessity of the light to become a matter of light. So light needing to manifest as substance.
And the fourth.
No beginning and no end. He believed these laws just keep happening, creating eternally. It's not a one-off Big Bang, but constant creation.
A cyclical universe, driven by light and energy. It's no wonder, then, he disagreed with Einstein.
Right. He directly challenged relativity. He argued it's not space that's curved, but the human mind that just cannot comprehend infinity and eternity.
He even said Einstein would gain immortality if he truly got relativity. Physically.
Yeah, physically.
Yeah.
It shows how deeply he connected understanding these concepts with, well, transcending physical limits.
And this connection to light wasn't just theoretical for him, was it? He experienced it directly.
Oh, absolutely. He said, I am part of a light, and it is the music. He claimed light filled all his six senses: seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, touching, and thinking.
Thinking as a sense filled by light.
That's what he said. He saw particles of light, like written notes. He even described a bolt of lightning not just as light, but as an entire sonata.
An entire sonata. So he heard music in the universe, like the music of the spheres.
Exactly, that concept. He believed that Pythagorean idea was the actual harmony of the cosmos.
Yeah.
And he thought if Einstein had heard these sounds,
He wouldn't have needed relativity. He wouldn't have created it, Tesla claimed. This music, for him, was the eternal cycle of stellar heavens. He even said our own heartbeats are part of it.
did he really claim to hear this all the time?
All the time. He said his spiritual ear was as big as the sky. And interestingly, he mentioned enhancing his hearing using radar technology he worked on.
So a blend of innate sensitivity and maybe technological augmentation.
Seems like it. And he believed sound, once created, lasts forever, even in silence. Silence was man's greatest power to him. It all tied back to the ether.
Ah, the ether. He still believed in it.
Firmly. He said the ether exists and that its particles are what keep the universe in harmony and the life in eternity. That was fundamental for him.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's shift to something he called the angels on Earth, basically. 10 conditions for how exceptional people adapt and function here. What's the first condition?
The first is having a high awareness of mission, knowing what you're here to do. He said he knew by age 12 he'd work at Niagara Falls. He just knew his path early on.
That internal compass. Makes sense. What's number 2? Determination. Simple as that. The drive to finish all that I might.
Okay, and the third?
Third is guidance of vital and spiritual energies, which he linked to purification. He felt he didn't lose energy, he gained it. He even insisted, write down, Nikola Tesla was a happy man.
A happy man. But he also called himself defeated earlier. How do those fit?
It's a puzzle, isn't it? Maybe the happiness came from the process, the discovery, the connection he felt, even if the ultimate external goals weren't met yet. It was an internal state.
Interesting. Okay, condition 4.
Adjusting the physical body. He saw his body as a perfect machine and needed to maintain it for his work. He talked about his specific diet.
Right, he said most people's food was basically poison to him.
Exactly. He claimed he could control his blood strain. And the sleep thing is famous, needing only an hour after huge effort. He'd even program himself to solve problems in his dreams.
That level of control is just, yeah, wow. Okay, number 5 must be memory, right? He had that photographic memory.
Yes, but he framed it differently. He said his brain didn't waste time remembering, it just accessed knowledge. He believed knowledge is all around us, like light particles.
So tapping into a universal database almost.
Kind of, yeah. He could recite Goethe's Faust from memory, hold inventions fully formed in his head for years, which leads right into number 6.
Visualization.
The cornerstone of his inventive process. He said he saw inventions, even life events, as completely real in his mind. He'd run tests, solve complex math, even fix design flaws mentally before building anything.
He claimed perfect senses too, right? Seeing more colors, hearing thunder incredibly far away.
Yep, 150 miles for thunder, seeing colors others couldn't. All part of this heightened perception he cultivated.
Okay, number 7 is about illness. How did he see that?
As purification. He thought disease was either a lack of vital force or the body purging toxins. He believed the spirit can cure most diseases.
Like his own recovery from cholera.
Exactly. He credited being allowed to study technology with his recovery. He also talked about illusion, not as trickery, but as the mind reaching beyond the 3 dimensions, citing his own visions, like predicting seeing a specific fish or knowing when his mother died from afar.
That's blurring lines between science and something else. What's condition 8?
This one's about energy transformation and controlling feelings. He called it a form of Kundalini yoga and linked it directly to sexual energy.
Ah, yes. This is where his views on women and celibacy come in.
Right. And we need to be clear, this is his reported view from that time. He believed women were the biggest thief of that vital energy and spiritual power.
Which is why he chose to remain single.
He saw it as conserving energy for his work, and maybe even for, as he put it, rejuvenating the human race through a different path. Certainly a controversial viewpoint today.
Definitely. Okay, nearly there. Condition 9.
Not forgetting who we are and why we are on Earth. He mentioned there were many fallen angels on Earth, implying a need to remember our higher purpose.
And the final one, number 10.
Maybe the most charming one. He said it's the most important. Mr. Tesla played. He played the whole of his life and enjoyed it.
He saw his work as play.
He did. He called lightning his most beautiful toys and discoveries a game. He thought people were way too serious, and it diminished life.
You really see these conditions reflected in his life stories. Trying to fly as a kid, reading Mark Twain for healing.
That story is great. Showing Twain his oscillator machine, the Bliss machine, and Twain apparently shooting off like a rocket to the restroom.
It shows his playful side, too.
Exactly. These conditions weren't just abstract ideas for him. They were deeply connected, integral to how he lived, worked, and made his discoveries. It was all one piece.
So let's try and tie this all together with his overall cosmic philosophy. He said, life is a rhythm that must be comprehended. What did he mean by that?
He felt this universal rhythm personally. He said it was grateful to him, it gave him knowledge, it pointed to this profound interconnectedness.
Between
Everything. Man and the stars, amoebas and the sun. He felt knowledge itself comes from space. The entire universe for him was alive, like a thinking animal.
even a stone.
Even a stone, he claimed, is a thinking and sentient being. It's a very animistic or panpsychist view, in a way.
And the interviewer pointed out this sounds like Buddhism or Taoism.
And Tesla agreed. He said it's all part of a general knowledge and truth that man has always possessed. Ancient wisdom rediscovered, perhaps.
His core idea seems to be,
The universe has only one substance and one supreme energy with an infinite number of manifestations of life. Unity underneath apparent diversity.
which brings us back to electricity, that incredible quote, electricity I am.
Or, if you wish, I am the electricity in the human form. You are electricity too, Mr. Smith, but you do not realize it. He wasn't just working with electricity. He felt he was it, in a sense.
Passing millions of volts through himself, seeing his body and brain as electrical systems.
And there are those strange anecdotes, like his eyes changing color. From black to blue, then eventually white. The color of heaven, he called it, apparently linked to intense mental strain.
And the dying dove.
Yeah, the white dove he cared for. He described seeing light jets coming from its eyes as it died, more light than he'd ever seen in anything. It deeply affected him.
Even his lab staff saw things. Flashes of light when he was angry.
They reported seeing flashes of light, flames, and lightning around him during intense moments, interpreting it as some kind of psychic discharge. Whether literal or metaphorical, it shows the intensity surrounding him.
It adds another layer to stories like his discovery of the rotating magnetic field, seeing it in the sunset while reciting Faust.
Right. It wasn't just a calculation. It was this moment of poetic, visual, intuitive insight. And he apparently talked to lightning and thunder, gave them names of loved ones.
Yeah, that connection again. He saw science and poetry as intertwined.
Completely. The two eyes of one person, he called them. He loved William Blake's idea that the universe is born from imagination.
He said imagination was more real than life itself because it gives birth to life.
Exactly. He lived in a state he called ecstasy, the source of his happiness and his immense productivity enough work for 5 lives, he claimed.
So given all this, life, energy, light,
Yeah.
what was his take on death?
Not an end. For Tesla, everything is light. Death was a return to a previous energy, a kind of resurrection, perhaps a transformation.
He wasn't trying to preserve himself, but human energy generally.
Yes, for the good of everyone. He hoped his discoveries would guide people towards spirituality and morality, not just technological power.
And time. Could we abolish it?
Not abolish, but transform. Energy transforms, so time does too, in his view. But crucially, he believed consciousness persists. A man preserves consciousness after the earthly life.
So immortality is real for him.
Yes, an immortality whose origin is outside of man, waiting for us. The universe itself, he felt, is fundamentally spiritual and more moral than us.
Which leads to that final haunting question he wrestled with.
What happens to a falling star as the sun goes out? It's poetic, cosmic. He thought our highest goal was actually to run for a shooting star and try to capture it.
Capture a falling star, literally, metaphorically.
Probably metaphorically, representing reaching for the highest knowledge, the ultimate understanding. He believed stars will eventually be capable to catch what could grasp that cosmic light.
And this relates to his idea of cosmic pain.
Yes, this deep sense that most people are unaware of an underlying illness in the universe, the source of suffering and conflict. He felt it physically.
Like when people close to him were hurt.
Exactly. He felt their pain directly, attributing it to this interconnectedness, these unbreakable strands linking our souls, that random sadness we might feel.
Yeah.
He suggested it means somewhere. A child or generous man died, a literal ripple of cosmic grief.
Wow. So empathy isn't just psychological, it's energetic, vibrational.
That seems to be his implication. And the cure, the remedy for this cosmic pain, he said it's in our hearts and evenly in the heart of the animals that we call the universe. It's about recognizing that shared heart, that universal connection.
What an incredible journey into Tesla's mind. It really goes so far beyond just wires and coils, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. His vision blurs all those lines we draw. Science, spirit, poetry. It forces you to reconsider what reality even is.
Yeah, it really challenges conventional thinking.
At its heart, I think his message points to this deeply interconnected, vibrant, energetic universe. And the human consciousness, our awareness, plays this absolutely vital role within it.
And maybe finding fulfillment for Tesla meant tuning into that cosmic harmony, understanding our unique part in it all.
I think that's a great way to put it.
So here's something to think about, building on all this. If Tesla believed imagination gives birth to life, if everything truly is light, and if our biggest purpose is to chase and capture that falling star, what kind of untapped energy, what perception might you hold inside right now? What potential is waiting to be unleashed that could totally transform your world and how you see the cosmos?